Welcome to Medical Mondays. I'm Matthew Bulow, aviation attorney over at Ramos Law. Each week, we're going to be breaking down FAA medical guidelines so pilots know exactly what to expect and how to protect their medical certificate. This video is one that I hope you'll never need. We're talking about what happens if and when your airman certificates, that's your medical and or your pilot certs, and type ratings are revoked. First, revocation is not the same as suspension. With a suspension, your certificate is temporarily surrendered and is generally reinstated or reissued after the suspension period ends. With a revocation, the FAA has permanently pulled the certificate, so there's nothing to reinstate. You have to earn your way back. That means starting from near scratch. The FAA uses certificate actions, including suspensions and revocations, to address alleged non-compliance and safety concerns. Most suspension and revocation orders can be appealed to the National Transportation Safety Board, but timing matters. Most orders of revocation or suspension will be emergency orders, so you will be required to surrender your certificates immediately or be subject to fines in the thousands for each day that the certificates are not returned. You can generally appeal the emergent nature of the order, which would allow you to keep your certificates during the course of the appeal, but you must do so within 2 days of signing for receipt of the order. That is a very difficult timeline to meet and effectively argue your case. And the bar for success is very high given the potential risk to aviation safety, so that tends to be an uphill battle. Whether you appeal the emergency determination or not, you'll also have to decide whether to appeal the revocation and undergo the process of litigation in front of the administrative law judge at the NTSB. If you find yourself in that position, you'll probably want to reach out to an aviation attorney to assist you through it. If you do not appeal that revocation, then you will surrender your certificates and begin the journey back to the flight deck. Most revocations will include a waiting period, usually 12 months, in which the FAA will not accept an application for certification from you. So they're saying you must wait a year, or however long they determine, sometimes 9 months or 8 months, before you can even reapply, let alone get back on the flight deck. Significantly, that waiting period does not apply to your medical certificate. It only applies to certificates issued under Part 61. So you can, and probably should, begin the process of reapplying through your AME and doing whatever you may have to do to demonstrate your aeromedical fitness to the FAA so you can get that medical back in your pocket as soon as possible and long before that waiting period is over. Now, to get back in the air and get your certificates back, you'll usually have to apply as a brand new applicant, essentially, not picking up where you left off, starting from scratch. You should expect to satisfy the current eligibility, training, knowledge, and practical test requirements for the certificate or rating you are seeking. Your hours don't go anywhere, but you're going to have to redo the written and check ride for every certificate. So first, confirm exactly what was revoked and when the waiting period ends. Second, address the underlying issue that led to the revocation, whether it was compliance, judgment, medical, substance-related, record keeping, whatever it may be. As we discussed a moment ago, this often means reapplying for your medical certificate. Third, you should work with an instructor, possibly an aviation attorney, and the appropriate FAA office, usually your FSDO or regional flight surgeon, to plan the appropriate path back. This is going to require written exams and check rides for each certificate you want back, usually among other things as well. Finally, just be prepared for the scrutiny that comes with that recertification process after a revocation. Now, what will the FAA care about in that process? The FAA is not only looking at whether you can pass a test, it'll also be looking at whether you've corrected the conduct or the circumstances that led to the revocation in the first place. Your goal is to show that you are qualified, compliant, and safe to exercise your certificate privileges again. Your character and ability to learn from that mistake weighs heavily in that determination. So, some common mistakes to avoid here. Do not assume that the FAA will automatically give your certificates back after a year or after the waiting period. Many folks assume that life will go right back to normal after the waiting period outlined in their revocation letter ends. That waiting period should be used to prepare for reapplication. Otherwise, you're going to delay your journey back to the flight deck. Do not exercise the privileges after revocation, obviously. Do not reapply without understanding the bigger picture. Have you addressed the underlying reasons for revocation? Are you in fact eligible to hold the certificate you're reapplying for right now? Just be prepared for that whole process. The bottom line is pretty simple. Revocation is serious, but it is not always the end of an aviation career. The path back requires waiting, reapplying, retraining, retesting, and proving that you are fit to hold those certificates again. If you're facing revocation or trying to come back from one, get advice early and build a plan to get yourself back in the air as soon as possible. FAA enforcement certificate actions require detailed, fact-specific analysis. Nothing discussed here should be considered legal advice, and you should definitely consult qualified counsel about your situation if you are facing revocation. Thanks again for tuning in, and please like, comment, and subscribe down below. We look forward to seeing you next week for another MM installment.